back to the Talk at Elevation. My name's Adisyn and we're joined with Mikayla Nagl. Today we're very excited to hear from a true trailblazer in sports. Our guest, Dee Kantner, is one of the first women referees in the NBA alongside Violet Palmer, breaking barriers in one of the most male-dominant spaces in professional sports. Her career at the highest level helped open doors for women in officiating. Today, she continues to shape the game as a rules analyst for women's college basketball. Thank you so much for joining us, Dee. We are so excited to have you on the show.
Well, thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it.
Of course.
Parents, you know how hard your athlete works and how much it means for them to be seen. Fan Day Nation gives them the confidence, visibility, and support they deserve. Don't let their moment pass by. Give them a future they'll remember at fandaynation.com.
Championship moments fade. Meaningful gifts don't. Nico Stones delivers bold jewelry that fits every style on game day or date night. Elevate your gift-giving season at nicostones.com. Dee, thank you so much for joining us again. Take us back to the beginning. How did you first get involved in basketball officiating, and when did you realize it could become a career?
Oh, gosh, Mikayla, I actually got involved my senior year in college. A very good friend of mine was a referee and realized I was financially broke. Yeah, that would be the word. I think college students, we all can relate to that. You know, how much Kraft macaroni and cheese can you eat? That type of thing. When I was in college, it was 25 cents a box. I know I'm aging myself there. But regardless, my senior year, had no money. Good friend of mine was a referee. Said, hey, kid, you know the game. I think you'll like this. And I tried officiating. You know, I started at grade school, church league. And even, you know, first time I put a whistle in my mouth, I really enjoyed it. So, I mean, it was purely avocational. Trust me, what officials are making today is just mind-boggling to those of us who started. You know, when I started, well, my gosh, grade school, church league, yeah, $20 maybe. But even my first year in Division I, so I'll take you from my senior year in college. I worked a couple of years. I stayed in Pittsburgh for a few years working for an engineering consulting firm. And then I got hired by Westinghouse with an engineering marketing type of position, engineering, marketing, and sales. And they sent me to Asheville, North Carolina. And from Pittsburgh, I was in Pittsburgh at the time. And in the South at that time, there was such a paucity of women officials. There really were. Yeah, and they just said, hey, somebody from Pittsburgh called North Carolina coordinator and said, you got a young kid coming in, she's athletic. And they hired me in the Southern Conference, which at that time, and still is today, a Division I conference. I had no idea what the ramifications were for that. And that would never happen today. It really would not. I mean, officiating now is so gosh darn competitive. But it was like nobody else wanted to do it. We'll take the kid who doesn't really know what she's doing, but can run and looks like she knows what she's doing. And that's,
Right, she'll figure it.
I mean, fake it till you make it, right? Is that what we're doing? But and there'll be people who said, I still faked it till, no, I'm sure there are. And that was my first year. I was 24 years old, working Division I, and then encountered some of the best mentors in the game, and the career just started taking off. And I really never thought, I mean, I thought it really was just going to be an avocational pursuit. Daryl Garrettson of the NBA came and talked to me after I worked. Let's see, my first Final Four was 92. I did 92, 93, 94, 95. Daryl approached me in 95. He approached me and Violet Palmer, and he was a supervisor officials in the NBA. And he talked to me about working and, you know, potentially being on the NBA staff. And quite frankly, I was not interested at first. He convinced me. So.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, it was not, I mean, it wasn't like I grew up going, holy mackerel, I want to be an NBA referee. No, that was not in the purview at all. It was nothing I even remotely considered. I did not consider being a referee for a job either. So things just.
Two things for that.
Yeah, things just
Especially
morphed.
back then.
Yeah, so like I tell people your age, you may not know what you want to be when you grow up, but, you know, there's this amazing thing that happens. It's like what you're meant to do somehow finds you. Or maybe I was just incredibly blessed and fortunate, but it found me. And for whatever reason, officiating and I were rather simpatico. So I enjoyed it.
That's amazing.
I mean, it's super cool because you studied at the University of Pittsburgh, right?
Correct.
doing engineering, which is awesome. So you studied this engineering, you went into the field, you did both. Kind of tell me a little bit about how engineering kind of helped you with making these quick decisions in officiating and like solving problems on the court.
Well, I think, the engineering aspect probably, if nothing else, I mean, even with a very male-dominated arena, pun intended, be it in the, engineering classroom or in an engineering boardroom or, a corporate boardroom where most of them are men, and then you're still continuing into another venue that most of them were men. I mean, we did not even have officiating camps for women until 1985, I think, was the first camp for officials interested in the women's game. So the first camp I went to, I and a good friend of mine, one of my first mentors in the game, she and I were two officials out of 75, and we were the only two women there. There were no camps for women. So the engineering aspect and just being, a logistical thinker, aligning things there, not that things always go logically on a basketball floor by any means, but just, that type of mindset and that type of, processing, very quick processing, obviously it helps. Goaltending, I guess it'll help the flight of the projectile, okay? But, didn't have to do that until I got to the NBA. Although we do have women now who can goaltend and block, get up there and dunk and all those things.
Yeah. You got the math side of it, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
The angles and all that.
Yeah, and hey, refereeing is all about angles. How well, and it is. I mean, and doing that, thinking 2 plays ahead, playing the chess game, that type of sequential thinking, is important.
Yeah.
And truly, truly constantly positioning and adjusting as a referee to get the correct angle. And then when people try to fool you, I still remember there was an athlete at University of Vanderbilt, and I knew she was an engineer. And she tried to take a charge. And if you do the angle of incidence, angle of reflector, that type of thing, she went the completely wrong way. And I was like, oh my gosh, as an engineer, you got to be better than that.
You're like, come on, you should
the force is coming this way. You shouldn't go that way. So it's like your vector was off. The vector was off. So, but other than that, I don't know how much that engineering, tutelage really applies on the floor, but.
Right. Very different, which is so crazy.
Yeah.
It is
well, it's
crazy.
really easy. And watching the replay, being like, he was obviously out. Why did
That part, I don't think you need any. I mean, it's self-evident. But one thing that was beneficial, my first boss at Westinghouse in Asheville actually played college basketball at Purdue, so he understood the basketball passion. So he kind of I hope Westinghouse isn't listening too much to this, but kind of would let me sneak out a little bit early to head up the mountain to go to East Tennessee State University or to Appalachian State or, to go work a game. So he understood that avocational passion. And, and a lot of young officials, that makes or breaks you, your opportunities and can you really get away to work the games. So things just aligned. I mean, I don't know what I did right, but, very blessed and things aligned well.
Yeah,
It's great.
amazing. We talked a little bit about being a woman in a male-dominating field. As you moved up into higher levels of officiating, did you feel more pressure to kind of do well, or did you feel a lot of pressure from the males in that field specifically towards you?
Well, don't we all? Don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mean to interview you guys, but let me throw it back at you. We all do. I think we as women still are fighting that battle to just kind of prove ourselves. I still said that even after whatever credentials I have on my resume, I could walk on, if nobody knew anyone, and I walked on a court with 2 other officials that were male, the natural assumption even today would be, I'm the weakest official.
Right.
Yeah. And just like you walk, I mean, don't we still all fight that battle? It's better than it was, but we're still fighting it. And guys, kudos to you. You're going to continue to wait. 2 women are hosting a Fan Day Nation. Are you kidding? What do girls know about sports? What do girls know about sports?
What do we know?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. What are you guys doing? Yeah, you lost. I mean, one of my early games in the NBA, I had an 8-year-old on courtside look at me and go, "Lady, you belong in the kitchen."
No way.
I looked at his dad and said, "Aren't you proud?" I said, "Way to raise, really
Nice job.
Exactly.
Nice job.
Exactly. So, I mean, what do girls, I mean, it's getting better, but you got to admit, it's still there.
Oh yeah, it's
Oh,
definitely in the
absolutely.
back of everyone's head for
Yeah,
sure.
Oh, yeah.
exactly.
But like everyone just kind of bites their tongue now. I think a little more
They
than so
try.
anything.
I think they
I
try.
know,
But,
like, if
yeah.
they say comments that they don't even realize is sexist, and they'll
Yeah.
still be,
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
oh, wow, you know a lot about that. I'm like, why is it
Why are you so
surprising?
surprised?
Yeah.
And isn't it, I think one of the most maddening, to players has to be like, she plays like a guy. Well, no, she plays like she's capable of playing. Why are we comparing them to how a man would play? No, she plays basketball like a really strong woman can play. A really talented, it's like, but yeah, it's still
Crazy.
there. And I know you're encountering it too. So keep forging. I mean, they'll figure it out.
Thank you.
Well,
You as well. You as well.
No, absolutely.
So you made history as one of the first women to officiate the NBA alongside Violet Palmer, we talked about a little bit earlier. What do you remember most about stepping into that role and like being on the court for the very first time?
Again, it was the scrutiny, the NBA being the first professional league to put women on staff, and Violet and I were hired at the same time. It's intriguing. It's like Violet was the first woman. Well, her game was assigned like the day before mine. We were hired
Right.
at the same time. But,
You guys are even.
It's like, yeah, she worked her game the day before I worked mine. But all the questions that came, we had obviously interviews and all that stuff, and all the questions that would come, and and I really had to, and at that time, so that was 1997, so I'm 37 years old. It wasn't like I'm a 25-year-old, getting hired into the league. I had a little bit of experience behind. I had already worked, like I said, like 92, 93, 94, 95, 96. I had already worked 6 Final Fours, been refereeing internationally, basketball, whatever. But all the questions that we were asked, that, a man coming in at age 37 with that kind of resume wouldn't have been asked. And I really had to sometimes just kind of bite the inside of my cheek. I do have a natural propensity towards sarcasm. I've learned how to curb it on the court sometimes because not everybody understands it nor appreciates it. I learned that very young, very early. It backfired many times. But, when they'd ask you these questions, and, obviously the pressure was there, some of it self-imposed, because you didn't want to go out there and kick the fire at every call and go, see, look, women can't handle it.
Right.
But, the question, and I sometimes I just wanted to respond with, hey, what does a man have that I don't, that gives him an advantage as a referee? Maybe he's a few inches taller, he gets a better look, angle-wise, things like that. But if he has something that I don't that makes him a better referee, then, gosh, I want to see it used, okay?
Right.
Do with that what you want. But, but the pressure was there, the scrutiny was there, and we knew it was going to be. Our games were going to be critiqued, obviously, at a higher level, more intensely than just any typical official coming in that year. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
That's cool. I couldn't even imagine going through all of that.
Oh.
It's got to be so much spotlight on you, just in the fact that it's not even, about you officiating or doing
No.
that. It's just about being a woman on the court.
No, but
Well,
Daryl,
yeah.
the support system, obviously my family support system was great, and Daryl Garrettson was just fabulous. I mean, he's passed on, but truly just a brilliant man as far as officiating is concerned, and he and I just, we aligned well. He was, we used to play like salt and pepper shakers and talking about angles and where we wanted to move, and he was just really, and he was fun. So, and he got my brain. He understood my brain. So we got along really well, and his support was tremendous. And so he helped,
That's awesome.
tremendously get through a lot of that.
That's awesome. Did you and Palmer, kind of having been hired like one day after each other, talk about the stories you had and shared with each other, and that help you kind of professionally and personally?
Well, Violet and I knew each other anyway, and we were hired on the same day. She just had her game, we went through all the training together. We started training with the NBA in 1995, ultimately hired in 1997. So we had a couple of summers of extended training. Like we'd be in Long Beach for 2-3 months at a time, working with NBA and NBA camps and whatnot. So VP and I, we worked the 97 national championship together. We worked 95 semifinal. So we knew each other. So not an issue, of course,
That's awesome. That's
Yeah,
cool. And she's
that's
doing
really
all these
fun. camps
camps in California now, right?
Well, she is. She's a coordinator for all the conferences kind of out west. The Pac-12, Big West, Mountain West. I think all of those. I've done my
She's
stint.
more west, you're more east side.
I've done well. I was a obviously I was supervisor of officials for the WNBA for many years, and I actually was SEC coordinator for a couple years when I was in the NBA, and I kind of have this attitude right now. I've been there, done that. I don't know. I want to go back to doing that. I'm enjoying. I'm enjoying channeling different skill sets, learning more things, challenging my brain another way. I just like that. I mean, I was out just tending to the bees about a half hour before you guys, because we put wraps around the beehives because it got really cold here in Charlotte the other night. And we just have a couple hives in the backyard. So, I mean, all these little nerdy, weird things that I like to challenge my brain on. So I've done that supervisor thing. I don't want to do it again. What else is new?
Yeah, exactly.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Right.
What else can I do?
Moving on to the next.
I do not want to run a marathon. Don't ever ask me that. That is not on the bucket list at all, ever. No. So.
You're kidding me. You can run down these courts, but you're not going to run a marathon.
No, honey, no. Adisyn, you can do muscle biopsy. There is not a single slow twitch muscle fiber in this body. I can sprint, but if you make me go farther than that, I'm like, no. It's just,
Right.
Nah, like, that's it.
no, I'm a sprinter. I am not a long distance runner at all. Ugh.
Fair enough.
Well, I'm neither, so.
Yeah.
Hey, you're good, Mikayla, but you have other skill sets. We all have our own
there
skill
you go.
sets. That's it. No.
Exactly.
All right. So you've officiated some of the biggest stages in basketball, from the 2001 Olympic Games, Big 10, Big 12 matchups. So can you tell me a little bit about what it was like, being on that stage in the Olympics? Where was the Olympics at? How was it going? Kind of give me a play-by-play.
Well, the Olympics, it was 2000 in Sydney, Australia, just a fabulous location. It's really interesting when you get the quote unquote big games, and people want to say every game's a big game, but let's be honest, there are games that obviously draw millions of people to watch it. The arena's just slam packed, things like that kind of denote it might be a little more of a bigger game. So those big games, like the first time you have one of those, it is just absolutely nerve-wracking. I remember I was 25 years old. I had 1 and 2 in the country. There was no reason I should have been refereeing Texas versus Tennessee at that time, and 2 Hall of Fame coaches, Pat Head Summit coaching Tennessee, Jody Conrad coaching Texas, and at that time it was only 2-person crew, and I, 25 years old, am going, oh my gosh, it took me probably about 8 hours to get out of the restroom so I could even go out there and referee. I'm not sure. You just are like, what am I doing? But ironically, once you get on the floor and the ball goes up, you just go back to fundamental training, just as any other job that you have done numerous times. Now, obviously, at 25, I didn't have the reps. I didn't have the Rolodex of plays. I didn't have the experience. And no matter what, I mean, you guys are going to learn, there is no replacement for experience. So
Yeah.
when, by 2000, I had already been refereeing. I had my FIBA license since about 1985. So I had experience. I had already worked 2 world championships. I'd worked the Pan Am games. So your Rolodex of plays has gotten pretty big, and you've been in that situation, numerous Final Four games by then and whatnot. So you have a little more calmness. It doesn't mean, and even like a regular season game in year 40, I still got butterflies. It's like you still have this desire as any athlete to perform and to get plays right and do the right thing and don't trip, running down the court and melt your polyester pants. I mean, and they will melt. If you slide, they melt. And I've done that. I did that and actually made the news because it's like, she's usually cool. She's usually cool, but she tripped and melted her pants. I'm like, really? This makes news? That's
What
embarrassing.
a title for a story.
You have to laugh at yourself then. But,
Yeah.
by that, and the Olympics just adds another degree because you see your flag and you're just like, that patriotism,
Fired
it
up.
sounds corny, but it's real,
Yeah.
So just really cool experiences, like I said, that I never thought, because of this little piece of black plastic, that, it would take me throughout
Right.
the world and the
Right.
country and meet people from all over. And, it's
amazing.
It is amazing. It's remarkable. And I've said this before, my high school coach, basketball coach, is still one of my closest confidants. I talk to her probably once a week, and truly influential growing up, and she's coached thousands of athletes, and she has gone on record as saying I was probably the last athlete she thought would be a referee, because she figured,
Wow.
before you ask, because she figured that the first time somebody yelled at me, I would just turn around and flip them off or something. So because I have that kind of I have that kind of
I get that. I'm like that too. I got some fire under my
Yeah,
skin.
I got a little fire. But when you accept the role among those four lines, you go, I can't do that. Now, if anybody could have read my brain, I would have been fired numerous times. Numerous times. If that bubble would have been visible, trust me, we would have gotten in trouble.
That would have been awesome.
Oh, that's funny. So you've served both as director of referee development and supervisor of the officials for the WNBA. What did those leadership's role teach you about developing officials and shaping the culture of the game, being on the other side of that and not necessarily in it?
I'm really, and I would not substitute that administrative experience for anything. I think it was very advantageous for me because I was still refereeing, and it gave me a perspective, dealing with the coaches, getting a little, understanding them a little more empathically, being more empathetic as a referee on the court, understanding some of the stresses they go through, just having that kind of interaction. And then as a leadership position with referees, I always told them and some of them were my closest friends who were on staff. So you had, I had to make sure I separated personal and professional, and it was, and I said, every year I got up in front of the staff and said, I really don't care if you like me. What I'm concerned about is you think I'm fair. And I want you to know, as a referee, all I want to do is be judged on performance on and off the court. Off the court is important too. How do you represent us, off the court? Are you a fool? We didn't have the social media then, thank God, so much. I still don't play with that. Don't ask me. But, but still, when you're in public, how do you represent us? How do you interact with, things like that? That was still important to me. But I just wanted to make sure, I as a supervisor wanted to treat the officials the way I think our golden rule is people. Golden rule is referee. Treat the people the way you wanted to be treated. So, it was
That'll get you a long way.
But it was really great for me just to grow in a different direction and again, use different brain cells at a different time. So, and learn so much more of some of the stresses that coaches are going through. So maybe that helped me be a better referee on the court than when I got back on the court with the NCAA. So,
Right. You definitely got to see all the different sides and maybe learn some things you never knew before, as well as
Absolutely.
being an athlete too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it gave my body a rest in the summer too. I did have to.
There we go.
I don't
I
have
didn't
to
have to
sprint
keep
anymore.
running. Exactly.
Sit down.
Enough, think about it. Last year, I'm looking at some of these athletes, they're 18 years old. I'm like,
Right,
okay,
yeah.
I was 64.
And you're running up with them.
I've still kept up, but I'm like, okay, let's
I know you
multiply your age by 3. Oh, that still doesn't get it. I still have to add numbers. What is this? So, or, I'm at a game and somebody comes out of the stands and goes, I'm number 22's mother. You refereed me too. And I'm like, oh, God.
Oh, no way.
Don't tell me that.
Oh, I know. But it was like, that's all right. That's all right. It was a testament to longevity or stupidity. I'm not sure which one, but no, it was good.
That's amazing.
That's funny.
Over the course of your career, you've seen women's sports change, obviously. What in the progress has kind of stand out to you the most, and what are you most excited for in the future?
Well, I think the biggest change, obviously, is just the athleticism of the athletes. I say this like in 1984 when I threw the ball up, at midcourt. If our post players were 6 feet tall or 6'1", they were tall. Now, I don't know why people are bigger and stronger and whatever now. I mean, is it what we eat? Are there hormones in the chicken? I don't know. I don't eat chicken, whatever, but I digress. But, now these women, you throw the ball up, they're 6'7", 6'8", 6'9", strong, athletic. I mean, the athleticism from top to bottom, I mean, historically, we'd get one really good player on a team. Now you get 4 or 5 really good players on a team. So,
Right.
I mean, the skills, just the development, the athleticism, the above rim play, blocking shots. I remember there was a coach, Jimmy Foster, who coached at Vanderbilt, and he kept, when I was supervising, so that was in 2000, probably 2000, 2001, he just kept calling me and going, Dee, would you tell your officials women can block shots? Because we would call fouls, because we were quick on the whistle. Now, more patient on the whistle to let that play finish and go, oh, nice block. So,
Right.
yeah, athleticism, quickness, whatever. Attitude.
Yeah.
Attitude's a little
Right.
different. I mean, there's a lot of things that have changed. Some good, some maybe not so good.
Exactly. And you have all those added things too. These athletes have been, working since middle school to become this D1 athlete.
Absolutely.
Too. And I think that's a big factor in that, you're saying one person versus the 5 good people on
Yeah.
the team now.
And I remember many years ago when Pat Head Summit came to a camp and she goes, oh my gosh, what's the world coming to? I'm recruiting an 8th grader. And now I think that's the norm more than the exception. Like you said, these kids are developing so much younger and just really focusing, which I'm not so sure is good. I mean, I was a three sport athlete, and I think that helped. That's why I almost think that there's more ACLs and everything. There's so much sport specificity that they're not using all the other muscles that you have to use when you play field hockey or you play soccer and you play, so. But they're developing the basketball skills or they're developing their volleyball skills and honing them at such a young age now that
Right.
the coaches are recruiting 8th graders as a norm. It's crazy. It's crazy.
It is crazy.
It's crazy.
The media. It's not.
What about
Yeah,
the
the
media? Oh my gosh, I'm media now. Who would have thought? I'm now media.
Can you talk a little bit about, we talked about the athleticism of it, but what is that mental side of refereeing? I mean, nobody's really nice to refs when it comes to being on the court or the field or wherever you are.
Oh,
So
I
what's
mean-
that mental state like?
In a crowd of like 15,000, there might be one person who's nice to us. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe
You would never know.
Ironically, through the years, I actually have formed some really good associations / friendships with some fans because I've just been around so long. So there's some people that are, I've actually made friends with some fans, but everyone focuses on that negativity. And so, guys, I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, it is remarkable sometimes and sad what people say to you. I mean, it really is.
Don't forget you're a human.
Exactly. You're a human being. And it really is unfortunate what some people will say. And it's stunning. It's absolutely stunning what some people will say. And there are times, I mean, I've had a few opportunities through the years to have little educational moments, because sometimes I remember, I'll give you a little anecdote here. I had worked, it was Duke Maryland game at Maryland. Season ticket holder sitting courtside, used my first and last name all night long, abused me unmercifully, told me how horrible I was, how I should retire, that, I suck, blah, 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 and my first and last name all night. So it personalized it even more. My best friend forever. We've been friends since we were 7. You do the math. It's a long time. She was sitting like off his shoulder. And by the end of the night, she was really upset because she just heard him denigrate me all night long. And I said, I'm really sorry you had to listen to that because, I'm used to it, unfortunately. You never become, because even though I can be really tough, I'll let you in on a secret. I'm not tough at all. I really am not. I cry when Charlie Brown loses his glove. I can't help it. It's like, it's just what I am. It's like, okay. But, I can't show that on the court. But this guy, he was just ridiculous. Well, I go to get on the plane the next morning. I'm sitting in 3C. Guess who my seatmate was?
Oh, no.
No. What are the odds?
What
For
are
a
the
whole
odds?
plane ride.
So I get on the plane and he goes, "Good morning, Dee." And I went,
You're like, screw you.
I said, yeah, that was what I wanted to say, even more egregiously. And I just looked and he went, you don't look happy to see me. I said, should I? And he goes,
Yeah.
well, you have to know I was just kidding. So I took a moment and I said, could you just, maybe placate me for a moment? I said, what's your name? And he gave me his name. And I said, how about if I follow you to work today? And I just follow behind you all day long and abuse you unmercifully. Say you're horrible, insult you by first and last name in front of your coworkers, in front of somebody who loves you. And how do you think that would feel? And he goes, not very good. I said, it's exactly what you did to me last night. I said, but
way to
yet,
stick up for yourself.
I said, you wanted to show off to all your other buddies. You knew who I was and this and that and how connected you are. And he looked at me and he went, I am so sorry. I said, thank you.
Yeah.
And since then, and I've seen him many times since then, and we've gotten along great. People are taught, again, we go back to the 8-year-old who says you belong in the kitchen. What do we teach people from a young age? Referees are there to do what? Yell at, to abuse. I mean, everyone does it. You see all these young kids. I mean, that's what we all teach them, unfortunately. But, I've had an opportunity like with that man and others to go, whoa, wait, I'm a real life person. I wish I could call a perfect game, and every referee who steps on that court wants to call a perfect game. We can't do it.
Yeah.
No, but our play calling accuracy.
Yeah.
Exactly. And sometimes, like when I did rules clinics before a season and I had players and I would joke with them, I said, all right, you guys, you want me to be perfect. Like I'm going to miss a call. I said, my play calling accuracy is probably in the 90s. I said, what's your shooting percentage? I said, on a good day, you're like, what, 42? And they're like, yeah. I said, I'd be fired if my play calling. And they're like, oh, man. I said, no, I'm putting it in, statistical reality for you.
Put it in perspective for
It's
you.
that.
Yeah.
So, it's something people focus on. When you ask people, you want to be a referee, you're like, oh, my God, no, you get abused. All that abuse kind of gets erased because if I took my self-worth from the fool in the stands, please be honest. But there are a whole lot of people who do appreciate what you do. And I like to kid fans too and say, the most accurate oxymoron is an intelligent fan. So they give me, it's just something you accept.
I mean, what are they going to do without you? You can't have a game without a ref.
Yeah, I have a shirt that says that too. Try playing without us. Anarchy. You have anarchy. It's
There we go.
But it's a great gig.
So-
I mean, I can't tell you. I just cannot stress how many more positives there are than worrying about somebody who can't even, but we all have those dreams. Trust me, Adisyn, Mikayla, I wanted to run up in the stands more than once, hand the fat dude the whistle and go, okay, dude,
Be like, go down.
Take
you're
my
on.
dog.
Can you run up and down the court even once? You're wearing me out and you can't even get up. Shut up. Trust me, there are many things I wanted to say and do, but I never did them.
Oh, I bet. Couldn't imagine the things you went through for that. Oh, boy. So, Dee, let's talk a little bit about the new experience that you're going down. So, you've just been given a job as an analyst for college basketball. Tell me about that. Congratulations for that. That's huge.
Thank you. And it was really a hard decision. I took a long time. ESPN came to me, Meg Aronowitz specifically, and said, we want to hire rules analysts with the A crew, with your Rebecca Lobo, Ryan Rucco, Holly Rowe. They're working the big games. And we want you to be the rules analyst. We want you courtside. So there was a little thing that I really enjoyed too, to be actually at the game. Because watching a game on a computer or in a studio, you don't get the emotions. You don't get the panoramic view. Like, when I referee, when I watch a game, I watch everything. Everybody's body language, this coach's body language, theirs, this, players, and you can't get all of that, in a sterile studio. So that was important to me that they put a little twist on this to have me courtside. And of course, working with Rebecca and Ryan. And I've known Rebecca forever. I refereed her. The first broadcast we had, she did bring up the third foul I called on her in the 1995 National Championship. And they actually went and found the play. It was hysterical. And I tried.
Oh my gosh.
I
I
tried to
remember
defend it. Maybe it wasn't the greatest third foul call. I acquiesced a bit, but I was like, it was 30 years ago, you know. And then somebody actually wrote an article in Connecticut how I had to defend my infamous call. Is nothing else going on in Connecticut that you write this article?
No.
It's like, but so anyway, this is a new gig, and what I like about it, and what I'm trying to do. And Rebecca and Ryan are so generous in cutting to me sometimes and keeping me involved and recognizing me and whatnot and harassing me. Rebecca more than anyone sufficiently, and I can take it, but I can also dish it. So it will go both ways. But what I'm liking is having the opportunity to possibly, like we've talked about before, kind of humanize officials. You know, give some insight. What are we talking about? What are we doing at that moment? Why would we miss that call? Why didn't we? You know, those things that everyone thinks they know about, and there are just some nuances that you wouldn't know unless you're a referee. Now, you know, I mean, so I'm going to defend, but I'm also going to be honest. And I've told my friends, you know, at the regional clinic, you know, at the NCAA regional clinic, I was there, and I just said to them, guys, I'm there to represent you fairly. I want to, you know, be fair to you, support you, and whatever. But if you kick a rule or kick a fire out of a play, I got to be honest. You know,
Right.
again, I will have that empathy because I know what it's like to run full speed and still not be able to get a great look at the play. And I get it. So
It's hard.
it is. But it's interesting, you know, with the headsets on, with the producer in my ear, and I'm like, what? You know, you're coming to me now? What do I do? You know, it's like, so it's all a different world. And I'm just like, there's pressure in this. I'm like, what?
There is.
Yeah, I know. There's
Different side of the sidelines, for sure.
exactly. There's real pressure there. I'm like, I don't have to run, but I still have to be like ready to be on and recall the rule at a split second and this, you know. So it's fun though. I'm enjoying it. And I appreciate,
that's
you know,
perfect.
I appreciate working with the people I'm working with. They're so generous and you know, excellent at their job. I mean, they are experts. So I'm new kid on the block. I'm getting the coffee. You know, what's your coffee order? Whatever. It's not beyond me. I know I'm a rookie. So
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Perfect. Well, we have one more question for you before we let you go is how do you want to be remembered?
oh gosh, you know, these are questions I absolutely hate. But thank you for the question. Thanks, Mikayla.
You got it. No problem.
You know, I've never, ever, ever worried about anything like legacy. I mean, people talk about what do you want your legacy to be? You know, I don't worry about that. If you see my house, you'll see my Christmas tree back there. There's nowhere in this house that you'll really see. I mean, you might get a little smattering. Oh, there might be a Final Four jersey that's up. I have a workout room. Yes, I work out every day still. I'm ready to go if you need me.
Of course.
You know, but you won't see that. I mean, it's what I do. It's what I did, you know, refereeing. And if I leave a legacy, it's just that the only thing I want to be remembered for is that I worked every possession, every game as hard as I could. Never took a play off. Really cared and had a passion for servicing this game and these athletes and coaches as well as I possibly could. And I mean, that's the only thing. I mean, sometimes I made the right call and sometimes I made the wrong one, but I never wanted to make that wrong call. Trust me. But no, I mean,
Yeah.
this game has been, like we've discussed, I never thought, you know, to have the opportunities that I've had, that I've traveled the world, made friends everywhere, had the opportunities, and even, you know, today working for ESPN, I never thought that little whistle would, you know, allow
all.
that. And it's just been a remarkable journey, and I just feel incredibly grateful and blessed and all those things. And I'll continue to try to service the game in whatever faction I still can, because no matter what, I'll still owe it more than I can give it. So
There we go.
Yeah.
Well, Dee, thank you so much for sharing your story and giving us an inside look at your incredible career. Your journey shows the power of perseverance, breaking barriers, leading with confidence in spaces where, you know, women have historically been underrepresented. That's one for one, us. Amazing. We're inspired by you for sure, and we just can't wait to see where you go.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you. And I'm inspired by you too. I love to see two women hosting this Fan Day Nation. So
Yay.
kudos to you and good luck to you. And thanks for asking. Thanks for asking about my story.
Thanks so much,
Of
Dee.
course.
We
Right,
really
you guys.
appreciate it. And
Thank
we'll
you.
All right. See ya.
Bye.
Have a good one.